Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Tittle Tattle Tarot. It's Georgie. And on the table helping me today, I have the lovely Shadowlands Tarot. And what we are going to be looking at is Judy Garland and her experience making The Wizard of Oz. Now, a lot happened with this film, a lot of very, very unpleasant things, and every cast member had a hard time. But I'm not interested in any of the other cast members. I just want to focus on Judy Garland so I can really pick up on her energy. I think all of them went through a very tough time. The Wicked Witch got burnt, horrifically burnt in one of the scenes, and had no sympathy at all. She had facial and hand burns. The Cowardly Lion, he had to wear a 90 pounds heavy suit and makeup, and they wouldn't let him drink, and he was sweating and became very, very ill due to, just too much heat and heat exhaustion, basically. Everybody had something, awful happen to them, some kind of dreadful experience. But I just want to tap into her energy, the things that happened to Judy Garland. And I'm going to ask very specific questions and pull a minimum of cards, see if the cards will give me the answers, very succinctly, because I've got quite a few questions to ask. So I want to key into Miss Judy Garland, the wonderful Judy Garland, and find out about this, wonderful film. But my goodness, when you know about it, what a dreadful, dreadful film, really. Wonderful to watch, but when you know what happened on the set and what happened behind the scenes, this isn't really a film to be celebrated, is it? So I'm going to start from the very beginning. When this film was being cast in the late 1930s, they really wanted Shirley Temple to play the lead role. So Dorothy was originally going to be played by Shirley Temple, who was about 10 at the time. But there were a few things. Shirley Temple, Fox wouldn't let her out of her contract and they wouldn't rent her out. So she couldn't have done it anyway, but she didn't actually have the vocal range. She wasn't a singer, really. She could sing, but she didn't have that wonderful range that Judy Garland had. So the second best choice was Judy. She had already made a film before, so it wasn't her first time round the block. She'd made a film before, but this was big. This is big. So how did she feel about this role, and how did she feel about being basically second choice? How did she feel about it? Judy Garland, let's try and tap into her energy. How did Judy Garland feel about getting the role and also about being the second choice? Shadowland Tarot, how did she feel? Let's have one more. I think she felt that it was just that she could do this. She could really do this. And I don't think, she wasn't at all bitter in that, she was the second choice. She just saw it as, this is right, I can do this. She probably thought, actually, I'm much better than Shirley Temple. Although she wouldn't have said it in a big-headed way. She probably thought, I can sing, I can sing, and I'm going to make this so much better because, it's right and it's just. The Ace of Swords is just like the truth. You've picked the right person. You may not have thought that I was the right one. You may have wanted someone else, but you've done exactly the right thing because I'm going to be so good in this. I can sing, I'll dance, and I will be the utmost professional person, very professional, very trustworthy. We'll do exactly what you want. We'll work. We'll use her words, her voice. Yeah, she thought that it was fantastic and it was just and it was absolutely right. It was her role. And what celebrations there were. I would think that in her household, her mother would have been overjoyed. Just the absolute pinnacle of success here. Got regular money coming in. There'd be a regular paycheck. This was like all your Christmases have come at once. Let's go out and let's spend some money. let's spend some money. Let's spend some of this stuff that's going to be coming in. Very much an indulgence card, very much, yeah, we've hit the jackpots. And I think she felt like that. And certainly her mother felt like that as well. So however she got it, you know, yes, how fantastic. This was the beginning. This was the beginning. And she knew she was going to make a good job of it. It wasn't too long before they get on set, and Louis B. Mayer calls her the little pig with pigtails. I mean, my God, I can't even, a grown man, you know, a grown man saying this to a young girl, our little pig with pigtails. And that's the way he referred to her. And the other one he called her was my little hunchback. Jeez, honestly, how vile is that? What did she feel about those terms that were used about her by Louis B. Mayer, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, the head person, calling her a little hunchback, my little pig with pigtails? Yeah, God. We've got two cards here. We've got the Eight of Pentacles and the Five of Cups. The Eight of Pentacles, that's working really hard, really hard, workaholic card. And the Five of Cups is looking at the spilt things, the stuff that's going wrong, and not concentrating on, you know, the good stuff. Now, we've got these in reverse. The work card in reverse, I think that she thought to herself, I'm going to work harder than anybody else on set. You know, you can call me these names, but I'm not just going to work, you know, I'm just not going to do a normal day's work here. I'm going to put myself on the line and I'm going to be the best at this. It sort of goes in with this card here underneath this. Absolutely right, absolutely perfect choice for this. I am going to work so hard. This is working hard, but in reverse here, I just see this as totally driven, totally, you know, I'm going to make you eat your words, because this little hunchback, this little pig with pigtails is going to make this film and I'm going to be outstanding in it. And I think that went through her mind. I will show you my value, my worth. And I think she had that very sort of, you know, make him eat his words kind of energy there. And with the Five of Cups, this is very much, you know, if it had been this way up, she would have focused on that. She would have really focused on that. Oh my God, he's called me a little pig with pigtails and a hunchback. You know, my God. And she would really have focused on that, but she didn't. She let it go. Good for her. I mean, she was only 17. She was playing a 12-year-old, but she's only 17. She let it go. She let it go. She thought, you know, I can't. She probably held it somewhere in her. I'm sure she did. People can't say things like that to you, just water off a duck's back. I'm sure that she held it somewhere, but she focused on what she had to do. This is very much driven. Focus on what you've got to do. Don't think about the bad stuff. Just focus. This is your chance. This is your chance. So, you know, she handled it very well, being called those things. She didn't cry. It didn't break her at all. She ignored it. And it wasn't too long before the people around her, you know, she's got to pay a 12-year-old, remember, she's 17. They strapped her breasts down so that, you know, she's going to look like a prepubescent girl. They've strapped her breasts. They've sort of said, right, you know, we can't have you getting any heavier. You can't get any heavier. We're going to have to put you on a diet of soup. And yeah, if you want to smoke, that's fine. That'll keep your weight off. Smoke as much as you like, but we're going to keep you on a liquid soup diet. And you're going to be observed, and we're going to make sure you don't eat anything else. So how did she feel about that? How did she feel? The Eight of Wands and the Four of Cups. The Eight of Wands, it's a communication card. You know, backwards and forwards communication. In those days, they wouldn't have had emails and goodness knows what. So she's very much either on the phone or she's face to face with people talking. when this happened and they said, right, you know, we're going to follow you and we're going to watch what you're eating, well, the communication really suffered. She feels like she's being spied on, and I think that made her clam up. She felt like she couldn't trust the people around her, and that's why I'm reading this Eight of Wands in reverse. This is very open communication. You'd have people around you on set that, you know, you would be trusting of. They would have your best interests at heart. Very open, forward and back communication. This way up, I see that she probably didn't trust anyone on set, because if she'd have eaten something in front of anyone, they probably would have gone to the director or something. Oh, you know, Judy, she's just, you know, just had some chocolate over there. You wouldn't believe what she's just seen, you know. And I think that was the kind of atmosphere. So she sort of went into herself a bit, and there wasn't that communication because she didn't feel the trust in either the people around her or, you know, even the people like behind the cameras and all that. So we've got this side of things. The Four of Cups is very much, oh, I can't be bothered. Oh, you've offered me that and I really can't be bothered. This way up, it's like, right, if you want me to do this, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to show you that I can lose the weight. And, you know, I will be bothered, and I will lose the weight, and I will smoke. God knows how many cigarettes a day she was smoking. And I will keep my body slim so that I look like a 12-year-old. So I think this, you know, this wasn't, oh, bugger off, I'm going to have a cheese sandwich. You know, it was, I can't be bothered with all this dieting stuff. Not at all. She, you know, she did what she had to do because she was so driven. This, don't ever forget this card that came up at the beginning. That sort of, right, I'm going to do this right, and I'm going to be really good. I'm going to work harder than anybody else. But she did feel very spied upon. But she was driven to do it. So she did what they said, and, you know, lost quite a lot of weight and did it the way they wanted her to do it. And then soon after that, I mean, this poor girl, woman, she's working all these hours God sends, hours and hours on set, absolutely exhausted. So she's going to need sleeping tablets to get her to sleep so that she can have a fitful night's sleep. And then she's so zonked out in the morning, she needs something to wake her up. So we've got the whole cycle of these uppers and downers, uppers and downers, uppers and downers, to work, to sleep, to work, to sleep. And it's just a never-ending cycle of drugs, basically. And it all seems right because it's all prescription, it's all from a doctor. How did she feel about this situation of these drugs, basically? Yeah. So we've got the Sun in reverse. The Sun, the right way up, you know, that's a yes card. Oh, yeah, it was great. It was great on set. You know, we worked hard. We had fun on set. And, you know, we were growing this film. The sun was shining on it. It was blossoming. Our relationships were going, well, we haven't got any of that, have we? We've got the Sun in reverse. This is like the dark card. This is almost like devil energy. It's without the sun, nothing grows, does it? Without the sun, it's life. So it felt like death. She felt like death, I would say. In the morning, she couldn't wake up. When the sun came up, she couldn't get up. She needed a pickup to make her work, you know, to make her alive and, you know, get out of bed. And then at night, she's feeling all up. And so she's going to need something to, again, put her to sleep. And it was just the worst feeling in the world. The sun in reverse is just feeling like death, I would imagine. I would imagine it felt terrible. And then you've got the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is your boundaries. This is where, you know, if you're in a Seven of Wands and you were upright, you turn around to these people who've got the drugs and they're saying, oh, you know, we need to give you prescription tablets to sleep. You know, and then something to work. You'd say, bugger off, you're not doing that. Because you'd have your wands here, you know, and you'd say, and you'd be in a strong position. You'd be up high and you'd be looking down on them. And you say, no, you're not doing that. I'm not having that. But, you know, you're talking about heads of studios. You're talking about hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of money, thousands of dollars. So low boundaries. You go, oh, okay, then. If you say I should do that, and the mother's there as well, don't forget. So the mother's got low boundaries. That's fine. That's fine. Have another cigarette. Have another, you know, she was very much pushing these drugs as well. So, you know, Judy Garland's boundaries were very low. This is what's expected of me, so I will do it. So what were her feelings towards her mother over all this? You know, the mother's actually giving her these drugs. They're being prescribed by some kind of quack doctor. And the mother is, you know, giving them to Judy. So what did Judy feel really about her mother? What did she feel about her mother? Well, we've got the Empress, but let's see what comes out with it, because the Empress is the mother card, but what comes out with it? The Tower. How funny. So, I'm reading this as the Empress. This should be Mother Earth. This should be all four queens. You know, if you had this as a mother, wow, you've really hit the jackpot. You got a real fabulous mother. She's going to look after you. She's not going to allow you to take drugs. She's not going to allow anything bad to happen to you. She's going to protect you. She's so wise. But what's come out next to it? The Tower in reverse, which is the utmost betrayal, the utmost disaster. You can't recover from the Tower in reverse. If you have an Empress with a Tower in reverse, you know, what a dreadful situation. This is the mother that causes all the trouble. This is the mother that hasn't got your back. You know, the Empress on her own, if I'd have pulled something different with that, then, you know, you could say, oh, Judy actually thought her mother had her best interests at heart, and, you know, they got on really well. But that isn't the case at all. Not the case at all. This mother was working towards her daughter's destruction. I don't think she meant to do it, but she planted the seeds of destruction for her own daughter. Wow. So let's carry on. One of the things that affected Judy on set, there was a scene where she's lying in a field, and it starts to snow. And this fake snow is actually asbestos. Asbestos. How wonderful. Oh, God. So the fake snow that they use, it's very light, fluffy. What can they use? What can they use as a prop? They use blow asbestos onto her. Yeah. I don't know if they knew at that stage what the dangers of asbestos were. I don't know if they knew that, but I would imagine that they probably thought that maybe this is not the best thing to do, you know, but it's got the right texture, you know. So looking back, I mean, now Judy, looking back on this from where she is now, what a disaster. What an awful thing to do. And now, you know, this is like the people on set saying, no, we're not having this, we're not having this. But of course, no one complained. You know, there were incidents with fire on this set. There was sexual harassment on this set. And rather than the actors getting together and in their power and saying, we're not bloody having this, you know, you can't do this, they all went, okay, where's my paycheck? That's fine, I'll do it. And that sounds really callous. It isn't. Money meant everything. We're talking about the 30s, you know, what a hard time that was. But they didn't, there was no union. This is like, you know, the union, isn't it? All actors getting together. No, we're not having that. We need more money. We need better conditions. You need to look after our health. No, they didn't do that. Everybody bowed to Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, Louis Mayer. Yeah, they all bowed to him because they didn't want to lose their pay. They didn't want to lose their jobs. So that was basically what happened with the asbestos. Well, you know, that's what it is. And I don't think they actually knew how terrible it was. But I'm sure that there were some people who had an inkling that it wasn't the best. And then we have like the pay. Judy Garland's earning about $500 a week, which, don't get me wrong, that's good money, but not so much when you consider that the Tin Man, the Scarecrow and the Lion were on $3,000 a week. Even Toto the dog was on 125 pounds a week, or dollars a week. So she's earning $500 a week. How does she feel about the pay pay scale, the inequality of pay. We've got the Justice card. I'm going to pull another card next to Justice. Yeah, I think she wanted justice. I mean, you could say justice is fairness. Oh, that's fair. Oh, that's fair enough. No, I don't see it as that. She wanted justice. She wanted the fairness, and this wasn't fair. This was not justice. And with the Nine of Wands next to it, very much so. I mean, Nine of Wands is like your wounded character. You're mortally wounded over this. You feel like you've been working. You're on your knees. You've worked as hard as you can. This bandage over the head, it's sort of almost like mental illness. And I can imagine it would have been like that on this film, you know, the torments of, you know, being criticized constantly for her weight, being criticized for all kinds of things, made to work all those hours. I should think that she was on her knees. And she saw this as, you know, this is not justice. I want justice. But of course, the boundaries down. What she wanted, she never voiced it. And I think this is from the mother again, this, you know, shh, put up, shut up, shh, just do it. Just get that money, get the money. So I think that she never really put her foot down and said no, because I think that she was made to feel very insecure in this film. Like, oh, there are so many other people we can get to do this role, which really there weren't. How many people could sing like Judy Garland and perform like her? That very, very few. But I think that she was made to feel like, well, you know, there'll always be another. We can find another you. And in one of the scenes, she has to slap the Cowardly Lion. I don't know if you can picture that scene in the film. She has to slap him, and you know, she's probably never hit anyone before, and she slaps him, but not hard enough. And then she'll laugh, and the take had to be done several times because she couldn't. It's very, very hard to hit someone, you know, especially this man in all this makeup and great line costume and everything. And she was a little bit intimidated at having to slap this grown man and slap him reasonably hard. And so she was a little bit self-conscious and a little bit giggly about it. So Louis B. Mayer slapped her hard. How did she feel about the slap? Angry slap from Louis B. Mayer. Well, King of Cups. That's what you would expect, you know, a King of Cups, someone, your director on the set, you would expect that, wouldn't you? You would expect them to be gracious. You'd expect them to be, oh, look, don't worry, take a break. We need you to do it like this, you know, talking to you from the heart, you know, don't worry, just take a break, think about it. We just need you to hit a little bit harder, and, you know, don't laugh about it. That's your King of Cups. That's what she was hoping when he came over that he was going to be. Of course, he wasn't. He could have handled this in all kinds of ways. He had many different ways of handling it. You know, could have told her to take a break. You know, he could have just given her some coaching. There could have been all kinds of different ways of handling this scene, all sorts of ways of doing it. But what did he choose to do? He chose the aggressive way, cups in reverse, the emotion coming out, that anger, and smacking her across the face. So I'm going to get another one on that, because what horrible energy that is. She was expecting him to just come over and say, look, don't worry, it's all right. And he chose the worst option, just hitting her. Yeah. And you got the Seven of Pentacles. And at this stage, she's thinking, my God, you know, Pentacles this way up, the Seven of Pentacles. This is you're working hard. You know, she's trying to build this character in this film. It's very much, you know, watering this character, letting it grow. She's trying so hard to make this character believable, and, you know, doing everything she can to get it right. And she must have thought to herself at that stage, this is not worth it. You know, everything that I've gone through, it's almost like this isn't worth it. My mental health, I can't sleep, I'm tired, I'm probably so hungry, and I just can't imagine being in that state. And the Pentacles in the reverse, the Seven of Pentacles, is like, this is not worth my mental health that's suffering, my physical health that's suffering. She would have been very, very low at this point. Okay. And then when the film actually comes out in 1939, it's not actually a success. It's not, you know, it's not till it's re-released in the 50s. This film was up against Gone with the Wind. So it wasn't a successful film. Before all that happened, before it being, you know, not that successful, we've got to think about the Munchkins. The Munchkins, loads of these little people were employed to play the Munchkins, and they're grown men. And I think people forget about that. You know, these are grown men, and they say, oh, you know, well, they were quite debauched. They were in the hotel drinking. Well, you know, they're men, loads of groups of men. What do they expect? You know, they're not going to go to church on a Sunday, are they? They're probably quite aggressive as well. You know, these are people that have probably been attacked for their height. You know, they probably had hard lives themselves. They are hard drinking men who weren't very nice to Judy Garland. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I think there was a little bit of sexual harassment there. Certainly drunkenness by some of them, not by all of them. So I want to know what she felt about these Munchkins and this this friction between her and the Munchkins, the moon. Yeah, I mean, that's very much a card of things are happening that aren't really spoken about. So I think that things happened that she didn't actually go to anybody and say. I would imagine that things were said to her, things were possibly done to her that were a bit unpleasant, but she kept it to herself. This wasn't a girl who was going to go to the director and say, oh, you know, so-and-so did this to me, did that to me, but it made it unpleasant. She kept it all to herself. Yeah. And then when it actually came out, as I said to you, it was fighting against Gone with the Wind, and Gone with the Wind wiped the floor with it. Nobody wanted really to pay money to go and see what they saw as a children's film. So it wasn't a success. It cost a lot of money to produce this film, and it didn't make it back at all. So how did she feel about the film not being a box office success? Strength. She was pretty strong about it. You know, she was pretty much oh well, sorry, my card's flipped. Oh well, you know, I've done my bit. She was very strong about it. She didn't see it as a personal attack, which is good, because her confidence must have been really taken a dive on this. So let's get something else. The Hermit. Do you know, this is a wise woman. What a wise woman Judy Garland was. It's just a shame that, you know, by the end of this film, she would have a drug habit that would follow her through the rest of her life, because how very wise is she? This isn't my fault. I've done my utmost best in this film. She had a strong, you know, a strong feeling about this. You know, I couldn't have done any better. The fact it hasn't, you know, made a lot of money at the box office, well, that's not my fault. I did my best. Very strong. And then the Hermit's very wise. You know, she is like going along the yellow brick road and being followed by, you know, by the lion and the God knows what. You know, it's like she led the way on this film. She led a path, and she did well. She did well. Nobody can look at her and not say, oh, you know, she didn't do a good performance. She did her best performance, and the light shone on her, and people looked up to her, and what a performance it was. So she had every justification in feeling strong. Yeah. I think it was re-released again in the 1950s, and then wow, well, that was a different thing altogether. It did fantastically. But as I say, there's so much more behind this, other characters, but I just wanted to tap into her energy, what she experienced. You know, we can look at all the other players and things that happened to them, but you know, I wanted her energy and how she felt. What a strong girl, what a strong woman, I should say. She wasn't a girl, she's a woman by this stage. And yeah, I don't think I can ever watch The Wizard of Oz again without feeling really sad and without feeling very uncomfortable about her treatment. Yeah, anyway, I hope that was of interest to you. If you know anything else, particularly about Judy Garland, we'll worry about the other characters another time and do a reading on that. But if there's anything else you can tell me about Judy Garland's time on The Wizard of Oz that I haven't covered here, then I would love to hear it, because you're so wise. You always know much more than I do. And I love to hear, you know, these little things that just add to my knowledge. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.